And then, so it's that,
And it's styrofoam, believe it or not, basically styrofoam with a mesh on both sides.
and you can towel right onto that?
Mhm. Made for that. You use it, it's like sheetrock and you use this tape with this masonry adhesive and you run it up through the seam, you put this tape on there, and run it back down again, doesn't have to be smooth.
Mhm.
And you just put towel right on it.
Hmm.
And that's the masonry product is what seals it. I mean, that's what everybody's doing nowadays. They're even doing shower floors out of it. They're now shower floors. They don't pour pans anymore like they used to. You pour concrete.
Yeah.
Inside of a waterproof membrane. Now they use, basically it's called the Schluter system and it's styrofoam. It's a styrofoam
So you
base.
can like, what if you like fell against the wall of the bath?
I have never heard of any problems
You
with
don't
that.
go through it?
No.
Oh.
No, I have not. I have not heard any issues with it. You can get the whole system up to, DB Prize up there, yeah. So they got all that stuff, but most, I think Columbiad's handling the hardy board now and stuff like that, so.
Mhm.
It's an interesting system. Fairly quick. We ready? got
Wait a
one
minute.
Do.
Tiling on walls is pretty easy. Tiling floors is a different story. You know, especially if you have something that's pitched. You know, if you get into a shower floor, that's tough, but walls are easy, especially if you got a fiberglass base, you just start right off it and go. Not bad. All right, I guess we might as well start. What do you think? You guys good to go?
Yes.
Want to join me in the place? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So. You wanna do the review February 2nd, 2026 planning board meeting minutes?
Yes,
March, but
March, the March,
March.
that's a typo on my part.
Well, I wonder why I said February, I thought we did that.
Yep, and you'd be right.
Okay.
I'll make a
March?
motion that we accept March minutes as presented.
All those in favor? Oh, got a second? And second, all those in favor, all those opposed? Okay, so.
I just wanna mention Dan Day, obviously, he's not here today, and, the select board appointed, Natalie Allen to the planning boards, and we have 5 regular members. Dan will continue to be, or can go back to being just a actual alternate. We still need another alternate, but,
Who's she?
she's a resident. I sat down and met with her. I think actually she still works for Great Salt Bay School.
Just,
Guidance counselor.
She's the guidance counselor. And she said she wanted to get involved in the town stuff.
Right.
was
So,
it?
yeah,
So barring any new business. We have some old business, which is.
Did you read that today?
No, was that today? Yeah.
so yeah, the old business.
Yeah, my old business just disappeared.
Oh, well, I can, it's map
It's coming
30,
back quick.
lot 40, just
Yeah.
671 Main Street, and Craig is here. He's the engineer for the applicant.
Yeah.
I can give an update if you want.
Yeah.
Great.
We've got to do a,
This is what I thought.
Evening.
Hi.
Just wanted to give an update. I'm sure you guys saw the email that went out today, so just kind of wanted to go over a couple of things from there. So when we met last time, we had submitted in February when I went out to the site. It was snowing when I got the site distance, and I know there was clear cut in, forested in the fall. We prepared the responses based on the discussions we had, and then after we had prepared that and got it in, we found out, we learned that there had been some additional grubbing out there, which changes our stormwater from what we had proposed on the plans you guys saw, because we had the revegetation line of the trees and in the buffer area, some established area stuff. So we met on site on Friday with the soil water district, and we're gonna be updating the plans to change the stormwater to more of like an underground soil filter. Because obviously with it being completely grubbed in those areas, we cannot have any buffer system. So I wanted to come since we had submitted and give an update on that. And a couple other little things that we had done. So since the meeting, I did look at the access drive and the parking lot. We were able to get that a full 30 feet away. I know there was some discussion on if it was necessary or not, but we were able to pull that completely up and keep it to 30 feet because when I was looking at it, it was available to do it, so we did it. And then I provided some more information on the lighting with foot candles. Still working on getting a meeting with DEP regarding PBR. The reviewer who we've been working with was out with some family emergencies and a death in the family, so we haven't been able to schedule a meeting with them. So we didn't have that. Hopefully we'd have that before now. So just to recap, we're gonna be the layout, we're still proposing the same layout, but we're gonna be updating the stormwater with them to change that since things have been grubbed out there. So traditional stumps have been removed from the clearing that we discussed last time I was in front of you guys.
So it was grubbed last fall.
It was cut, I believe, last fall from what I was informed, and then additional stumps were removed this spring. When I went out to the site in February, it was snow covered, so I didn't see. But I was informed that there was some forestry activity with the forest management plan in the fall. And I was under the impression that there were still stumps, which is not disturbance on DEP's eyes because you're not ripping up the duff layer and the topsoil, but once the stumps come out, then soil is moving. So we're gonna be addressing that. But since we were on the board, since we were on the agenda, since we already submitted before that came to light to us, that I wanted to come and just have the
All right.
conversation, let you guys know what's gonna be changing in there, so.
You probably recall at the last meeting, the board decided to send this to the Knox Lincoln Soil and Water
Soil,
Conservation
yeah.
District. And so I spoke with Chris
Baldwin.
Baldwin, yeah. I think it was Friday, maybe it was Wednesday, and you guys were meeting on Friday.
Yeah.
So he went out there, so that was the email that I shared with you was basically the conservation districts. Just update saying that there's some issues that need to be addressed, and it sounds like you're gonna address at least some of them through some updates to the plan.
Yeah, and then we'll be adjusting all of them, but the buffers are gonna be switched because no stumps there. and-
So
Right.
the whole parcel, the size of the parcel is what?
Um,
And then, and what percentage of what amount of the parcel has been clear cut?
I believe it's 32 acres in size, and I do not have a percentage.
It seems to me, I would venture to say 100%.
I don't think it was 100, but
No?
it is a large.
You think there's
portion.
a tree left?
I know in the back
Yeah.
there's some shoreland, and I was informed that it was not touched. But I could not tell you the percentage. I will say it is a large amount that was cut.
So the shoreland, so there is like a real forestry plan, like by a forester?
I don't have a copy, but it was, the site was in tree growth
Mhm.
last year, and now it's after the clearing activity was taken out of tree growth. Is,
So it's, what do they call that? What kind of cut,
The
liquidation cut?
liquidation. potentially,
It's a liquidation cut.
well, like, yeah, I think,
So isn't there a limit on the amount that you can clear cut in the state?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
If it was done based on the forest management, I don't have a
I mean-
copy, so I unfortunately can't share
Yeah.
it, but, if it was done based on that plan, I would assume. No, the limit would be what's on that plan.
So that, the plan was to liquidate it and to cut everything. So that it could be taken out of tree growth, I guess. I guess that could be
Well,
one.
so I think there's two things. One is if my understanding is the property was taken out of tree growth, and I'll confirm
Yeah.
that with the assessor, but that is kind of separate from the timber harvesting, because assuming that, my understanding, and I see if I can't get that forest management plan. But it could potentially have stayed in tree growth if that clearing was consistent with the forest management plan. So I am not a forester, so I don't know all the details, but
I believe the timing, from what I've been informed, is it was cleared per the plan, and then after that, it was taken out of tree growth.
that
And that's,
would make sense.
unfortunately, that's all I can share, 'cause that's all I know.
So, and according to the email that we received from Chris Baldwin. He was concerned about wetland disturbances, lack of vernal pool surveys, stream crossings and shoreline zone protection. I mean, it basically, everything was cut and grubbed. And everything is kind of trashed on that property. I mean, when I look at it, it's pretty alarming.
I don't believe the entire site was grubbed, the large bit was cut, I think the grubbing is mostly limited to this area. From what I saw,
And the wetlands are kind of in the back and the top there.
yeah, but. Overall, so.
It didn't pull it up here too.
So the project. That parking lot is in this area, and then the large wetlands are back here. From what I saw, and I didn't walk the entire back there, and I can get some more information. It looked like it was in here was grubbed, and here was just stumps from what I could see it looked like.
Cause before, the only concern that we had with the project is on the stream down there by the red line that you have, right? That was really the only interference at the time that we were talking about.
Yes. So.
And this is exactly why, I think it was good to send it to Soil and Water Conservation District, because the conversation that I had with Chris was basically like, he's the expert, the board doesn't need to be technical experts, we'll kind of listen to what he says and he'll give us some guidance, and that's.
So where are the stream protection areas?
So there's a couple layers. For the shoreland, it's basically up at the top. And I'll double check it's at the top, and then in the back there, you see where it's, I guess, kind of highlighted
Right here.
orange or pink, or that is shoreland. That's, I believe, resource protection around those wetlands.
Where
And
were
then-
they cut?
No, I don't believe so. I think,
don't think so.
I mean, and I looked at like satellite pictures, but again, I don't know. So there's a couple, as far as shoreline zoning, tree harvesting, we have kicked to the administration of it to the state, because they know better, and between the code enforcement officers, it's better administered. Actually, I think that went up there before I was even here, but so the state administers that. The shoreline, timber harvesting in the shoreline. The state always regulates timber harvesting outside of the shoreline, so we can talk to them and make sure that everything is as it should be. But my understanding is that the stuff within the resource protection, it looks, there are trees back there. It looks at first blush that has not been taken down.
That's my understanding as well. I had to walk back there myself.
It'd be interesting to
Yeah.
talk to the regional forester, or, the
Yeah, for
the
the
district
district,
forester.
yeah.
I know that there was I saw the sign when I went out there, there was a forestry permit pulled. I don't have a copy to share.
I mean, but we don't really have jurisdiction over what happens on the rest of the property, or we just,
As far as timber harvesting,
well, basically, I don't really care about timber harvesting as much as protecting the resources
right.
that are supposed to be protected.
And so that's where the resource protection is 250-foot buffer from the water's edge of the wetlands, I think are forested and virgin. And then the stream crossing that the driveway goes over is not a stream that is regulated by the town's shoreland zoning. The stream at the top there that goes underneath Main Street.
This one is.
That one is in shoreline, so there's a 75-foot buffer from that. Yeah, outside of that stream and the wetlands that are identified as, being within resource protection. It basically falls beyond what the town looks at, but the state DEP still cares about some of them, depending on what they are.
What, was there a wetland delineation on this property?
There's wetland delineation and they looked for vernal pools. So they found one here. And then these two were potential because when they went out, there had been some hatching already. So when wetland delineators go out, they can identify what's a potential vernal pool. And that's what they flag to us. And then they say, we can't tell if it is significant or not. We can tell you this is definitely potential and we have to go back out in the window. So they found these two here that were potential. This one was, so they went out during the time frame last year, but hatching happened early last year because we had a warmer spring. So they saw this one was full. These ones are like, we see a lot of activity, so they're potential. And then beyond that, they didn't see any potential vernal pools out there. So there was a whole wetland study, and I believe it was included in my original submission that Jones Associates prepared. And
So if there's a potential, do they go back out the following
they
to
can,
confirm?
Yeah.
Is or isn't?
they can, a lot of times, it depends on how long the project's gonna take. So sometimes if the project's for us on our end, if it's not gonna be a year process, they will just consider the whole thing significant and just mark on the plan and stay away. And then if it's gonna take longer, we'll say, come on back out in the spring and verify for us. So long-winded answer for it. They do come out in the spring, but a lot of times we just.
Because this project wouldn't affect this project per
No.
se, but if they're potentials, then they should be looked at again to find out if they are or are not.
Yeah, their buffer goes, about here and the
Yeah.
parking lot ends way up here. So there's a significant.
Mike, does the forestry management plan that happened, does that have effect on our project, and are we able to get that or have somebody look at that to see if it was done as per the plan? And who does that?
It probably is beyond the
district
planning,
forester,
but
So Maine Forest Rangers.
Should, yeah.
I assume.
or the district forester.
you're right, the district forester, and I mean, it's something that the town can look at.
We
I
only recently
imagine-
ceded our authority. I mean, it was a couple,
We mean, well, the way the shoreland, there's three options for timber harvesting in shoreland. One is, you have the state administer it. The second is you use the state standards, but you administer it locally. And then the third one is if you've got special standards for some reason that predated shoreline zoning, you can keep them under certain circumstances. My understanding is that Damariscotta, when I got here, had already had the state administering their timber harvesting in shoreland. So, and I recall that because Newcastle didn't, and while I was here, we did have the state take over the administration of the shoreline over there. We did not do that here, I don't believe, at least based off of my memory. But that doesn't mean that I mean, the stakes for the standards haven't changed, it really is, so we should be able to get in touch with the district forest or whoever deals with the timber harvesting and administers it. And they should be able to say, yes, this was done in accordance with the regulations or not, and.
Well, and I think we gotta find out, because nobody in this room can answer whether that pink area has trees in it or not right now. Everyone's assuming there is,
Right,
nobody knows,
yeah,
right? So I think we need to have that figured out.
I guess we could do a site visit.
Can I also say that if it was or wasn't, is that anything that's really
That was my follow-up.
responsible? Why are we responsible?
Correct, correct.
If they
And
did
does,
something,
and how did it
if they
affect
did
it?
something sketchy. It's not up to us to deal with that.
yeah, be code enforcement.
It would be either
Select
due to
board.
the state
Yeah.
or the forestry or the code enforcement.
Right.
It would not be up to the planning
Correct.
board to deal with that.
And my assumption with all this is always like that, nothing, it's kind of trust but verify, is like, nothing wrong probably happened, but we should be able to, pull that thread and get to like, yep. Somebody who makes that decision can say yes or no. And then we can kind of
That would
move
be
on
the
with
end- that would be the
confirmation,
answer.
yeah.
And that was kind of where I was going with this. If they did or didn't, we still can only rule on the project in front of us for the parking lot for the area that we've already talked about.
That's absolutely true.
And that's, I'm just thinking like, if we can't just assume like, if there was a violation, that maybe then the planning board could say, no, we're not gonna grant this, but we'd have to clearly say, yes, there was a violation and now it's a problem and the planning board may, but I think what we're looking at, like if, let's say if there were trees that were cut down in the resource protection, this project's not in resource protection, so it's not really relevant to that. If there was something that happened within, around this site, then maybe it's relevant, but I think we've already got Soil and Water Conservation District looking at this, and as far as I can tell, Chris Bennett is doing a thorough job and, is gonna address anything that any issues that may come up. Is it Baldwin? Baldwin, yes, thank you, sorry.
So he's gonna submit a bigger, more detailed report than that?
I believe
Yeah.
that he will, and my understanding, what has happened before is the Soil and Water Conservation District have worked with the applicant to basically get to a point where both are happy and that the plan satisfies the conservation districts, any concerns they may have. And at that point, the planning board can then say, great, if they're happy, we're happy, and it's obviously your decision, but, and I think that's kind of what we're going, like the direction we're going in, because you said you've got some changes to make to the stormwater management, so, basically, we do have a month, and I'm happy to look into, any of the forestry.
Well, and again, I don't know if it really pertains to this project, because even if we go and do a site visit, we can't go more than what the scope is.
Yeah, right. We're not,
I mean,
we're
we
not
can't
really
walk to
worried
the pink
about.
area because it doesn't matter to this project.
Right.
We're
Yeah.
only looking at from the little stream by the red line back towards the road, for however far that parking lot goes. That's all we can.
And I think that's what, Chris Baldwin.
Yes, Baldwin.
Okay, Chris Baldwin is looking at that, the whole area that is relevant to this application.
Correct, okay.
So,
And that appears to be the only area that has been stumped from what I saw. I will say I didn't walk the entire site after I went out and met with them on Friday. But that, from what I saw, that looked like the only area was up here that was dumped. And we've talked about putting some road control out there to stop anything going on now. And from what I can see on aerials, it does look like this was retained, but I can't, we probably have to get our surveyors out there to verify the actual area and then GIS on there, but, yeah, so when I went out in February to get the site distance, it was all snow covered and I didn't see any tracking. It looked like, and before I was informed it was cut, which cut is usually just the stumps are there and no earth moved. And once we prepared everything after the last meeting, we found out that there was some moving of stumps out there that we're working on now addressing with the sewer district or soil district.
yeah. And that's, this email that Chris Baldwin had sent was basically just like an update to the planning board to say, kind of, we're working on it, but here's what I've identified as issues and that basically more's coming. He'll do this thorough review. But like I said, I think I only spoke with him on Wednesday. You guys met with him on
Friday.
Yeah.
So. And then Mike and I spoke this morning. I said, I'm just gonna come and give you guys an update of what's
Okay.
going on, just since we're already on the agenda. Rather than just ask for it to be tailored, we're gonna come and tell you guys what's going on and what we're doing on that aspect.
And I figure this is a good opportunity for any issues the board does have that, you can share them and then that gives the applicant time to address those. There's hopefully no new surprises the next time, but
What's a lip spreader detail?
So, we have, that's for the level of spreaders we had. Or the turnout one, and he wanted an additional one, so this is the level up for the ditch turnout and level up spreader, so he wanted an additional one for that larger one we had on the. Where the had splits, so. But we're gonna be doing a soil filter, so. We'll have a full soil filter detail in there, but, he just wanted some additional information from the detail, so we had for that, so.
and this, go ahead.
In the flow splitter, like it sounds, going into one pipe and then going to the two that it talks about, the
Yeah.
equal distribution.
Yeah, so usually, we found that anything over 50 feet in a buffer level up, it doesn't distribute if you have one huge one, so we like to break it up into two 50-foot sections or less. And we usually just put a splitter there, so it goes evenly to both. But if it's really hard for them to construct 100 feet perfectly at the same elevation, so that if you break it up, it's much easier to construct, is what we've seen in the past. So that's what that was there, so it was a splitter to the water coming down the swale would just equally go to both of these two, these sections here, that would kind of. Yeah, that'd be a soil filter now.
Were we supposed to have is it a public hearing too?
It was noticed and we can hold it. There's no, right, I mean, there's nobody came.
Not do that.
But we did do it, and I think the board could set you can open it and you can also allow any public comments at the next meeting.
Probably will anyway.
And that way, I think that would be, I think that would be fine.
So do we have to advertise that again for the next meeting?
I don't think so. I think as long as it was noticed for this meeting. Is there anybody from the public that wants to speak?
Well, and my point to that, is, should we open it and then continue it so we can have it for next time without having to advertise
That's
it?
what I was
Right?
thinking. Yeah,
I think that's fine. I think that noticing it and making that decision here, it would be appropriate. I'm not an attorney, but I
okay,
know
yeah,
that kind of stuff.
we've done that before.
Okay,
Rather than closing it, just continue it, right, or,
Yeah.
whatever else we called it that time, but then that way it continues to our next meeting, so we can still have that.
yeah.
We can do that at the end of the meeting.
Do we need
Do you think we should do a site visit?
I'm not really uncomfortable about the parking lot issue with that. And because the scope of what was done out there is actually out of our so said jurisdiction. It's out of our hands. We're not forestry police. I
Well,
don't really feel the need to do that.
Okay.
I was kind of curious, just near the parking lot, like how the road crosses that, it's gonna cross that stream and how far the edge of the parking lot goes up toward the wetland up there.
It certainly wouldn't hurt, but that's all, when we go there, that's all we can look at, right? It's
Yeah,
just the
right,
parking lot, but it's
right.
not gonna hurt to put eyes on, we do site visits for all the other ones, so.
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to. What I always kind of tell boards about site visits is it's kind of hard to get site visit stuff into the record. So a lot of times if for follow-up for administration, for enforcement, a lot of times it's easier if you basically say, applicant, bring us all the information we need to know that what the decision we're making is justified, and that way you've got all of that in the record.
Yeah.
So if you need information to say like, well, how close or, and I understand like if you're saying, well, we don't know how big this is, and there's a certain amount of like, you know, oh, now I see how far that is or what the grade is, that's, I think is,
And elevations, I mean, I'm a little confused as to, even if you had some photographs
Do that.
of the site
Like a photo and key them up on the, I can take photos.
from the road to the,
yeah, and that, we did discuss that, I
Yeah, you
passed
did
that
mention,
along,
yeah.
because your request, Jenny, but.
I mean, I,
I can do that and I can take pictures in different spots and kind of have an arrow where I'm looking from that one, so you can. See where it is, like,
mean,
that works.
I think a site visit,
It always
Yeah.
helps me, but
Yeah, that's
you know,
fine.
it doesn't, we don't have to.
I mean, you can't do both while you said and then do the site visit, right? So we have
Yeah.
them both.
That's,
There's nothing,
I don't want the site visit to like replace if you need.
Correct.
If there's some documentation or something that is worth documenting, that's, I wanna make sure we get that, but like, again. Especially with larger projects, if you go out there and you're like, oh, you know, now I can see the slope and how this all relates, that's totally, I mean, that's.
Cause you'd have to stake the plot, you know, you'd have to stake the parking lot out.
At least generally,
Yeah, we can check, but yeah, it's, yeah.
is that what you all, what you'd like to do? Do a
We
site
gotta
visit?
give them time enough to get things staked out, we gotta have some kind of an idea where that road goes, crossing over the brook. We gotta be able to cross the brook. Just saying,
bring your boots.
'tis that time of year,
well, they must have some, they've been
and it's
crossing
gonna be
it, right?
muddy as hell.
Yeah,
They must have some way to cross it.
yeah, I think there's some, and there's a spot where it's kind of like two stream, so there's a spot where it's, the stream kind of goes and then it's. There's no stream channel here, so I think that's where you can get across. It's like two intermittent streams, basically.
So, while we're all here, do you wanna try and schedule that for?
How long do you think it would take you guys to get things, some of that staked out? I mean, at least the outside parameter of the actual parking lot itself is what we're interested in, correct?
We could,
And the stream crossing.
Mhm.
we could stake it out this week.
And we'll have to notice it, so we probably couldn't really do it until the week of. Do it the week of like the 27th would be
Be fine.
better, because we could get it in the newspaper for the 15th, the 22nd, and then. I can't do, we have a historic preservation review commission meeting on the 27th, could. A different. Even, well, does,
What's the
27th is Monday,
So me personally, I can only do the 28th and the 30th of that week.
28th and 30th, okay. Tuesday and Thursday, that's
I do,
fine,
Tuesday and Thursday would be okay with me. I'm very likely will be going Monday.
okay,
I'm planning on going up to camp last week.
yeah, yeah, so. 28th,
Tuesday's
Tuesday,
better.
better for you?
It's in the morning.
I think, I mean, I've got a. Yeah, I could do it after 10 o'clock, basically, 10:30 probably is when I can get there, but
We can have someone available.
what time on Tuesday would you guys like?
10:30 is fine.
Um. Great, so we'll say 10:30
28th.
on the 28th, right?
Maybe things would be a little drier then too. With any luck.
Let's see, yeah. Okay, so I'll make a point to notice that, and you can stake out what was mentioned, and then I think we'll be good. Are there are there any other issues that
The guy, what,
you wanted to
Baldwin
discuss
had said?
today? Was there anything else that you had to say?
Fact.
That's what I'm just looking through. I don't.
Well, you had one little thing in there about, parking, sole parking purposes or something like that. What was that? I did read this, you know. Doesn't mean I remember it very well, but I
No,
did read it.
That's fair enough. Fair enough. There. Lighting, what I recall is you wanted to request a waiver for the.
Yes, yeah, cause we had like right near them, they were 1.7.
They were beginning to, yeah. but
Yeah.
I know the boards
We were what?
entertained that for the lighting.
Oh, yeah.
For
It
the
was all
requirements, yeah.
zero at the property lines and most of it was less than one, but a couple spots near each light is max of 1.7.
Okay.
But still pretty light, maybe still pretty low. The metric.
But the parking lot's only gonna be used during day shifts, right?
Yeah, so it's, the lights are pretty much just gonna be, you know, winter, more often than not, that's
So they'll be shut off.
after that, yeah, so it'll be, cause we get start early here in winter, so probably. I think, like, if the shift gets out at 4 or 5, they close them off at 6 after they drop off some people, and that's.
Mhm.
And that's, I know we talked about closing at the end of turning them off after business hours, which. I don't, we didn't kind of define what those business hours might be. But maybe we can, and I'm
Well,
also
the
just
shift,
thinking.
he
is
said,
the-
he like said 6 o'clock.
Well, that's what I'm wondering is like, I mean, the hospital, there's people working all.
Correct, I mean,
24/7.
I would think, but you could do a 8 or 9 o'clock time and know that no one's gonna be out there after that, but in the,
They're not gonna be running the bus past 6 o'clock.
oh, no, they will. Cause I mean, right now they run it until after 6 o'clock.
And I think it's mostly used, from what I was told, mostly during the day when the high demand, and then, you know. There might be an occasional car or two that they got stuck in an emergency and they're there later and then they get shuttled out after, is what I was told, so there's a couple. It might be like a 1 or 2 car in the parking lot after the shift ends, that the people who got caught up in something they can't walk away from.
And,
You know,
and you can't, I mean, if they get a ride from somebody else, you can't have it pitch black up there if they're going to their car, so
Yeah.
we gotta be reasonable too, of like an
Right.
8 o'clock hour or something like that.
That's, well, I'm also wondering, I mean, putting it on like a motion sensor after a certain time.
we thought about that, but then like if a deer goes back there,
It's
it's
gonna
gonna
turn
hop
on.
on and stuff, so
Yeah.
we kind of thought just a cutoff time would be
Okay.
better than, cause you never know if wildlife back there
Yeah.
hopping on all night long.
Right.
If motion sensor was what I
That's-
thought.
I'm just,
Yeah.
throwing that as a solution
I
potentially,
think you can set motion sensors so that wildlife don't.
well, I mean. I feel like a big person versus a small
Like a car versus a.
bear, right, is gonna, I mean, overlap and. I don't think we're gonna bring AI to this, so. So, do you wanna? Do you wanna try and have a time that the lights are, off between, like, and I don't know. A certain time that they turn off at night and before they turn on in the morning?
Oh, the hospital should put some input in on that.
Well, I'm just gonna say, we should kick that back to them of having them pull who's gonna be using it, because again, in the wintertime, those would have to come on at 4 or 5 in the morning, 5 in the morning, if they're gonna start picking up at 6,
Right.
still gonna be dark.
Mhm.
So that they need to put their input in, we can't just arbitrarily pick
No.
a number.
That's right, I think if you propose a time, I just, is that kind of reasonable, if there's a reasonable time that they propose, is that? Would that be a reasonable solution for the board to say, yes, they're,
Yeah, well, let's see what they come
Yeah.
up with.
yeah, okay, okay. Street away, site facilities. Runoff. No. Yeah, NERPA, site water, this. Okay. I don't see. Disposal of phosphorus shouldn't be in there, fishing buffers. I don't, I know I had something in here. Jonathan, about, like on the, I don't know, number of spaces or it, so I get maybe what was probably in there is that this. There is no other use on the site. There's, I mean, there is the house, but this is a separate use from that. This parking is not accessory to that residential use.
No.
But, parking as a primary use is permitted in C2, so maybe it was just clarifying that this is a primary use and that's permitted here. So.
I just read this first part of it, it says parking shall not be a primary use except in accordance with land use tables under 101.5 E2.
And.
But according to that table, it is.
Yeah, I think it's a conditional use, which is actually kind of why it's
That's fine.
fine for the planning board.
That's just something I have to pick up when I was reading through this. I don't think there was really much else in there that was pertinent to that particular project anyway, because it's not that big,
Right.
you know.
The,
It is.
That's what it seems to.
the only thing I wanted to, I didn't want to mention was I got another email. And I think I shared with you before about just a concern about the driveway's location. This, well,
From Patty Whitten?
from Patty, yeah.
Okay.
And I just wanted to mention that this is going to DOT for
It's in, yeah.
driveway permit.
We're back, yeah.
Yeah, so, and DOT is either gonna approve it or not. That one I mean, it's up to the board, but that one I would be comfortable if the board said, you know, it's a condition of approval that we need to get a copy of their approval before you start building or pull a building permit, but,
Absolutely. You should.
We
So-
usually have those by now, so I'd imagine by next month we have it.
yeah.
They usually are a couple weeks
Okay.
around, so I'm kind of surprised we don't have it yet.
Yeah,
It's in, we're just kind of waiting on them, but
okay,
I
and I
imagine we have it.
haven't heard anything, otherwise I don't know. Andy's the road commissioner and Mike's the code enforcement officer, but I don't think either of them have heard anything, at least that they've mentioned. So, which I agree, like, there is another driveway and Belvedere, I imagine Belvedere Road's gonna be getting more traffic going forward now that traffic circle's in.
I bet we get less, because who wants to drive through it?
I can
You know,
say
I've
so,
heard-
it's a lot easier, Jonathan.
I've heard.
Oh my gosh,
good
it's
things.
so, I have so much less anxiety going across there
Yeah.
right now. I love it.
I have to have a lot of anxiety there.
Oh, I just
I
have.
did
a lot of
this every
friends that
time
live
I
on the
drove
other
up, I
side
went,
there.
nobody's coming.
Well, it's there and so we'll see, but I imagine like people weren't leaving Route 1 via Belvedere extension anyway to come into town that way before much. I think it's easier to do that. Anyway, I mentioned that like having it as aligned as possible would be good. There is a property line there, which makes it tough, but like I said, DOT's gonna have to review it and
Yeah, I mean,
approve
you have
it,
to-
so.
We have to keep the driveway away from the property line, right? 15 feet at least here.
I don't believe that was in there, but I can check. Mostly I just wanted to raise, it was Patty's concern, but I just wanted to, she sent me an email, so I just wanted to.
So
share with the
what's her
board, but-
concern?
Well, I can tell you,
About tractor trailer truck.
We should look at that too, because I thought it was 15 feet too, Jenny, from the property line.
Yeah, it's
and
not, I can't really see whether it's right on the property line.
It's not right on the property line, it's
it
pretty much on the setback line, I think a little bit might
I
be over.
feel like driveways. I'll look at that. Because I think driveways might be exempt from those setbacks, like the way that it's worded. Because like
I don't think
parking
so.
areas, I don't think are, but I think the ordinance might, I'll look and check. Because if whatever the ordinance says.
I mean,
we
in
can
the
go.
past, we've made
Development
people,
roads have to be set back.
yeah, we've always
But I
made
don't
roads.
think driveways do. I think he's right.
I'll check, cause
Well, that's kind of
my
a
memory.
development road if I ever saw one.
well,
I mean, you know what I mean? That's kind of it's a weird
I'm
project.
talking about development, like housing development.
Yeah, don't you
I
think that's what
understand.
eventually is gonna go in there?
well,
Not through that entrance.
Yeah.
and yeah, and I mean, yes, I know that that's like the plan is, or or the intention is to put
Something.
housing on the site. Again, though, this driveway is for 100 parking spots. If housing project comes forward, you're gonna have to look at the driveway. If they say, well, no, we want to use this driveway, you're gonna look at it again and be like, how many units does it, does it make sense? You can kind of look at it with a new
Well, I
eye.
think then we should put that in there on this project, right?
Say that,
Say that if in fact that driveway is closer than 15 feet and it's allowed for this scope right here,
Mhm.
then we have to say in there. If the future plan is to utilize this entranceway for future projects, that less than 15 feet is not allowed.
is not, well, and I think we can say that. I think it also doesn't necessarily need to be said. It would be kind of belt and suspenders, because if a project comes forward, you all are gonna have to look at it and say, no, that if this is gonna be a road, it's too close now, and.
Right, no, I get that,
Yeah,
but
so,
to put that out there for now, because if I was doing this, then I would move my road down in preparation for
Sure.
that now, rather than rebuilding it again.
Right.
Yeah.
So they should
That's
know
fair.
that now if it doesn't, right, that's
yeah,
my point.
I guess how I might say it is that this probably would not pass muster as a development road, only because we don't have that application in front of us, and rather than paint, yourself into a corner, I think that is fair. If the applicant wants to build this road and paint themselves into a corner, it's not really the planning board can tell them no, but it's probably worth considering. But Patty's concern was that the driveway is close to Comfort Keepers and Blush Boutique. They're near each other yet separate, with neither directly across from Belvedere. This one is kind of partially directly across from Belvedere. It doesn't line up as though it were designed, but so I just wanted to share that. What it's worth.
At the site visit, we can understand that.
You can take.
Understand our concern more.
So, yeah, because Blush, I think their driveway is like just off of the bottom of this drawing. So it's not like
I think there's some standard.
Walgreens and the car wash, those are like on top of each
Well,
other,
that
basically.
power line easements in between the two of them, which is fairly big.
Here.
Yeah,
I
it might be in it though, because you can do a driveway and easement in those CMP easements, they might, they might, yeah, they might,
You can.
I'm not sure.
But I don't think that their driveway is in it.
And what was her concern other than just the placement of it, or?
I think partially how close its relation to Belvedere Road and to the next driveway down, basically. So yeah, that's within the board's purview, but
To me, you'd almost want it across from Belvedere Road to be easier when you're coming out to see traffic coming straight across.
Yeah. And it avoids like coming in
Yeah,
and
look at it,
turns
yeah.
and things, so you're just kind of just going across. It's the safer to have it across, so we could, that's why we have it there.
That road's going,
it's true, yeah,
so they're following this property line right here, just off of it.
about as close as I imagine they can get it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're fairly close, but
Yeah,
what are you gonna do?
that's
You
So-
maintain site.
well, and that's like the board can review, basically look at the standards, is it safe, does it, whatever the standards of the ordinance are, and make whatever decision you find reasonable, but so I just wanted to raise that, so at least it was out there. If it rises to the level of concern for the planning board, great.
671 Main Street.
So, is there anything else that the board like to discuss, or you want to open and then?
Let's open a public hearing, we'll leave it open. Rick, vote on that.
I think if you gavel,
Yeah,
it's open.
we're gonna open a public hearing, leave it open.
We'll continue it to the next meeting.
When you said to do it, I already opened it.
Okay, now it's official.
That's fine.
Anything else on this?
Yep. Good.
Do you have anything else you
So
want?
that's it.
This is quite a list of stuff from Chris Baldwin.
Yeah, no, he
Sounds
he
pretty
was,
thorough.
he was.
Has he been down here?
On
Yeah.
Friday. He
Yeah,
was.
I met with
Chris
him
Baldwin
and
had been
the
here.
applicant on site on Friday afternoon, at
Okay.
1:00.
So he wrote this after.
Yes.
Okay.
Good. So, and that's, like I said, I don't I'm not a stormwater management engineer, so I'm kind of deferring to him on any issues he may find. Great, that's it, thank you.
Set the meeting.
Great, and I'll make sure that that site visit is noticed, and I don't know if you or whoever wants to be there, or
Yeah, I'll
it's
be
open to
there.
the public, so.
This is what it wants to
I'll be there and then I'll let you know when everything's taken out.
Great, so, okay. What else do we have to do? That's open, I have no new business,
Yeah, I think so.
I've already mentioned the new planning board member that was appointed. I imagine that she'll be at the next planning board meeting. And possibly the site visit, I don't know, we'll see. And then I wanted to mention something, planning board meeting. No, there's training that's coming up. Planning board training, and I think I'd mentioned in the past that there's a new law that basically requires any new planning board members to be. Or actually, it's all planning board members or any review board members. Do, in addition to the FOA training that was a requirement before, it's also now. Planning board training, which usually MMA includes the FOA training in that, so. At some point, I may tell you that you need to take planning board training if. I'm not sure how it's gonna apply to existing planning board members, so
Would that be the training?
So the MMA stuff?
possibly.
It's the MMA training.
It was basically the MMA, or if you were at the training
done
we
it
did,
twice.
yeah, you've done, then
The one that we had at Newcastle?
we did one in Newcastle, were you with that? Okay, so I gotta find out how it applies. I mean, you're welcome to take the training if you wanna take it, but I don't know what you have to take, and but once I find that out,
Yeah.
I'll let you
I've
know.
had, I think, a couple
So.
trainings.
Yeah, so as long as you've done it, it seems reasonable to me that you wouldn't have to do it again, but.
Yeah, I don't, it's kind of interesting. I mean, you always pick up stuff.
Yeah.
It changes a bit.
That's right. So, I've been working on some ordinance updates, and I'm gonna try and continue pushing that forward if you have questions, concerns, or
Put a little
wanna.
something in there about lighting.
Yeah, no, we're gonna,
So are you?
I have not gotten to the site plan review ordinance yet. I'm just trying to kind of. What my approach is to take the land use ordinance, kind of. Reorganize it so that. The standards for lots are in one section, the standards for buildings are in another section, the standards for uses are in another section, so that everything's kind of. Well, what's being regulated, we'll just go to that section and see, and then hopefully take the site plan standards and do kind of the same thing. So that everything is, reasonable place. And then we can decide what should be in there, what needs to be taken out and all that. So right now, really, all I'm trying to do is reorganize everything. And then we'll go through and have the conversation of like, how do we want to regulate things? Plus, all of the regulations that the state has changed that we have to catch up with, so.
Our ordinances, is there a way to have a link on our desktop that would take us right to them, but still, if you make changes, that when we go to the link, it would be to the newest changes? The state does it that way with some of their rules and regulations, and you can just go to a link, right? You save it as a shortcut, and you click on it, it always takes you to the most recent updated versions of that. Is there a way to do that with our ordinances and whatnot?
With the new website, probably, we've got training coming for the new website, so that we'll hopefully all know how to use it. We probably can do something like that. But what I will say is they don't change that often. We get to go through town meeting. But I can try and do something like that. So there's just like, here is the current ordinance, so that whenever you click it,
Correct.
So I think that's,
Yeah.
would be
Rather
reasonable.
than trying to get into the site and then go to find that, but if there's just a way on our laptops here that we could just have that and know that it takes us to the most recent,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
It would just help when we're reviewing this stuff at home, that if you wanna go to something, it's right there,
Yeah.
and it's current.
That would make sense. Every time I open up the land use ordinance, I always check the date to be like, is this the one that I know is the last?
Right,
But-
right.
So, yeah, we can try and do something like that. again, like, I think it would probably be through the website and I'll try and ask that at the training.
Cool, thank you.
I wrote it down for me too.
Thank you.
So you're gonna send us information about the trainings?
About the MMA trainings,
Yeah,
I can, yeah, I'll forward you whatever the next one is
Right.
and.
Will we have the website training too, or is that just?
No, that's just for the internal. Hopefully you all don't have to fight with the town's website.
And one more tech question for you,
Yeah.
but I promise I won't ask any more.
No, you,
Next month, maybe. Is there a way, I assume that you have a planning board email list, right?
Mhm.
That you just do, can our new addresses be put on that? So that I don't have to get it from my personal and forward it to my town?
yes, that's, I will do that. I think I've started doing that with some of you, but I'll make the switch. And then I'll also try to, if you need, I can try and remember to send like just a reminder to your personal email, that just says. I sent something to the other one. Ideally, everything goes to your town email and then you don't have to,
yeah,
but if you're not checking your town email very often.
yeah,
Right, well, and that's the problem with that, right, is. I kind of want both, best of both worlds, right, you know what I mean, but I mean, I know that it comes to my personal, that triggers me to go to this one.
Mhm.
But
So what
the only other way to do it, I guess, is add my town one to my account on my phone, just knowing that I have one.
Yeah,
Have it so it pops up so that I can go and look at it, but.
yeah.
I don't
You
know.
can do that. I know, so what I'll start doing is I'll send the packets and any like a kind of official communication to your town email. And then, when I send the board packets out, I'll make sure to just send a reminder. It's not gonna be won't be the materials or any of the information. It'll just be something that says, go check your town email. That way, because one of the points of the town emails is that when we send stuff to you, if we get forward and they want to see all the communications that relate to whatever, you don't need to
Correct,
give them all of your personal email, you just,
correct.
we can pull it and be done. So yes, I will. Did you make a note for,
I did.
thank you.
Okay.
Even if that's something I do, is if you send it out to the group, I can do a personal,
Right,
he sends out the stuff.
that would
So,
be,
Yeah,
I usually try to set a calendar reminder for like the last week of prior to the meeting to be looking for that, so just so that I know it's coming, that's all, but.
yeah,
Yeah, see, I didn't, cause my email.
Well, and I got thinking of that right when you said that earlier.
This morning I sent him an email, cause I still didn't have it back.
yeah. Oh.
And then you
right.
sent it out at 10 o'clock.
And then I responded to
Yeah,
you
responded
and then
to it, and
I
I got it.
also followed up with
Yeah,
something else
which
to
is
you, yeah,
fine.
so
But my personal email is dead in the water.
Yeah.
I don't know how long it's supposed to be that way.
that's.
In fact, it affects my telephone, my tablet and my computer.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Yeah. What started that? You know, everything else works. And
As your bank account's low.
And that's, yeah.
Usually is. Hasn't done that before.
all right, so are we all done?
No, we have to vote to close up.
I was gonna make a motion.
Go for it.
I'd like to make a motion that we end this meeting.
And then we have somebody second that. All those in favor? All those opposed? Perfect. Go and have some dinner.
Anything else?
It's the